We're not live. It's still spinning.
Here we are.
Good morning, everyone. This is BizChicks TV. This is the place where you can find tips and tools to help you do business better. We're here to help you run a profitable business that's fun to run and to take the hassle out of your hustle. And today we are here with Robin Shimizu and friends talking about happy, healthy habits. I'm with Robin Shimizu. Robin, we are so happy to have you in the studio. It's always a joy because we know you always got some fabulous guest who's going to drop wonderful nuggets. Excuse me. I just want to say, folks, get your pencils and pens out because we are going to be talking about a great topic which will be introduced to us by our guest. Robin, how are you today?
I'm fine, Terry. Thank you.
Good, good. All is
Glad to be
well?
here. Yes, yes. All is well. I had my booster on Monday, my second booster
Oh,
on Monday, and on
uh-huh.
Tuesday, I did feel very, very lethargic and got lots and lots of sleep, but I'm fine. I'm maybe just one day of lethargy. That's about it. So,
And that
not
might have been from the party.
Oh, I think it was. I think a lot of it could have been from that. Yeah, we had
Yes.
very nice party over the weekend. She turned 99 on
Mom?
Saturday. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
my mom turned 99 on Saturday. It was really nice. Next year, when she turns 100, we're going to try to figure out a way to have a little bit less overwhelm for
Uh-huh.
her. But I think everybody had a really great time.
Well, maybe what you can do is a month of birthday celebration where people pick a day that they're coming by
That's a great idea.
so that,
Yeah.
it's smaller groups.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We're gonna have to figure something out, but
Yes. A
amazing.
hundred, da- 100 days of birthday.
I'm gonna get on Al Roker's show.
Oh, sounds like a plan. That's nice.
I'm gonna
That's
start working
good.
on it now. Okay, so I digress. I want to introduce our guest today, Dr. Tamika Jackson. We haven't seen her
Hmm.
in a little while, and I want to read from her bio to remind people who she is. We're so grateful she's with us today. So, Dr. Jackson is a licensed psychologist who has a
Hmm.
private practice here in Sacramento, and she has this practice 9 years and over 15, 17 years of practice in the mental health field. Um, she she At recognizing the need for greater attention and mental health needs of the Black community, Dr. Jackson is extremely passionate about serving as a resource within that community. And in this vein, she has been part of the Safe Black Space for the last now 4 years and has trained an emotional I can't say it,
Emancipation. Let me help you with that.
emancipation.
That's one word I can pronounce.
And both of these efforts provide therapeutic healing circles for Blacks to process racial trauma and to gain empowerment.
Wow.
Outside her professional life, Dr. Jackson is happily married and is a mother of a beautiful 9 year old daughter. And in her spare time, she enjoys traveling, attending cultural festivals, trying new restaurants, and spending time with her family. She's deeply spiritual and maintains a ground and remain excuse me, maintains grounding through prayer, mindful meditation, practicing gratitude, and spending time in nature. And just to give you some of her credentials, she has a
Hmm.
master's in counseling from George Washington University, a doctorate in counseling psychology from Georgia State University in Atlanta, and a postdoctorate in residency at the UC Davis Counseling and Student Health Services. So,
Well,
with
Dr.
that,
Jackson is no joke.
and we're so
Wow.
grateful for her to join us on BizChicks and provide us with her knowledge and her special expertise. So, with that, let's bring on Dr. Jackson and see what she has for us today.
Welcome to the stage, Dr. Jackson. I'm going to move us around here so that you don't get dizzy. I'm telling you in advance. Oh my goodness. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Now, oh, I need to unmute you. Hold on.
Oh,
That was my fault. I muted
oh,
you
okay.
while
Can
you
you
were
hear me
backstage.
now?
Yes, ma'am. We can hear
Okay,
you
wonderful.
fine.
I was just saying hello and it's good to be back.
We are just grateful for your time. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Hmm. So, Robin,
So,
is there something else you want to share before Dr. Jackson gets started?
No, no.
Okay.
all
Okay, then
right. Well,
I'm going to
Robin,
put us to the side. Dr. Jackson, you want to tell us what your topic is?
yes,
Where
I
we're
am
going with
talking
this?
about rest today.
Oh,
And I think we're hearing a lot more about the importance of rest.
mm,
And, with the pandemic early on, I think a lot of us were finding more space to engage in rest because we had no choice, right? But now
mm,
that things are beginning to return to normal and people are getting busy again, I think a lot of us have forgotten how to pause and reconnect within. And so I think that the timeliness of this is
mm.
on par with just what we need right now. How do we maintain this ability to slow down, come back to our centers so that we can restore our spirit? So I'm talking today about 7 different types of rest. And this is taken from this book right here
Oh,
called Sacred Rest. It's
Ah,
by Dr. Sandra Dalton Smith. And she
mm-hmm.
also has a TED Talk if you wanted to see a condensed version of this. But much of the info that I'm going to cover was taken from Dr. Dalton Smith's work. And so I
Okay.
want to start with a question for the two of you and anybody else that might be watching right now. A few questions. And the first one is, what is your relationship to rest?
Hmm.
And what are some of the messages that you received about rest?
Hmm.
hmm.
Okay.
Well, for me, I have been lately, I'd say within the last 5 years, um, read a little bit more about the importance of sleep. Now,
Mhm,
that's different than rest, I
mhm,
imagine. And so, resting, I never really thought about resting. I thought
Mm.
about sleeping, but not
yeah,
resting. Thank you for that.
absolutely.
Yeah, I have no relationship with rest.
Mm,
You know what? When I think about my relationship with rest, I think about my relationship with God because I cast all my cares on Him.
mm,
That's how I get my rest. Whenever I'm anxious,
yep.
um, my now we went over here to my spiritual side. My Bible tells me to cast all my cares on Him because He cares for me. So and to rest in the Lord. And so
Mm,
whenever I'm feeling like, and I'm not talking about physical exhaustion, I'm talking about mental and emotional exhaustion. When
yeah.
my soul needs rest, which is my mind, my will, and my emotions, I cast my cares. So that's
Mm,
my relationship with rest. And the message that I get about rest from my parents and from people who have been role models for me have been that rest is not a good thing
Mhm,
in terms of work. You should be
mhm,
working all the time. And
mhm.
I am guilty of passing this message on to my daughters. I have a daughter who goes out in the morning and can find 3, 4 jobs by the end of the day. And I'm like, you can't work that many that many jobs. So I have consciously or unconsciously passed
mm,
this relationship with rest onto my daughters, and I don't know how to undo it because
mm.
it's been ingrained in them so long
Yep.
that they are just, they have, one has businesses and she's working full time for a Fortune 500 company. The other is working 3, 4 jobs. I'm just like, what is going on here, Terry? What
Mm,
did you do? when you taught them, did you teach them anything about rest?
Hmm.
Mhm.
Robin and Terry, I appreciate both of you being so honest in your reflections on rest. And I think that much of what you've said, a lot of people can relate to. And Terry, I would say don't be so hard on yourself because you are passing down messages that have been given for
Generational stuff.
generations.
Yes.
Absolutely. I remember hearing from family members, I'll rest when I'm dead. And that there
Yes.
being a real value around constantly being in motion, being productive,
Hmm.
that rest is a waste of time, is
Hmm.
often the messaging around that. And so I'm hoping that today will um, undo some of these negative and untrue messages that we've received around rest. And Robin, you're absolutely correct in that rest is not the same thing as sleeping, right?
Mm.
Sleeping is biological. And even those of us that have trouble sleeping, eventually your body is going to fall asleep, right? It,
Mm.
whether we want to or not, we're going to fall asleep. But
Okay.
rest is an intentional practice, right?
Mm.
Rest is something that is a learned behavior.
Mhm.
And when I think about resting, I'm thinking about an intentional practice that's going to allow me to release stress and tension from my body and receive some form of nourishment,
Mm.
right? So I'm releasing stress and I'm receiving nourishment, right? That's the
Okay.
distinction I make between sleep and rest. And so some of the myths that we've heard about rest are that it needs to be earned, right? That if I
Hmm.
get all these things on my to-do list done, then I can rest, knowing good and well those things aren't going to get done, so it's not going to happen, right? And like you
Mm.
said, Robin, many of us have zero relationship with it because we have so much on our plates, right? I think the other myth is that it requires a lot of time. And the folks that are really busy. So I think about your daughter, Terry, that you said is working, you know, high
Three, four
profile job,
jobs.
very demanding. And so there can be this sense that I don't have the space. And so I'm hoping that as I go over these different types of rest, it'll also create new pathways of understanding that we can
Mm.
absolutely rest even within a 2-minute span of time, right?
Ah.
Yes. And the idea that rest is a luxury. A lot of people see resting as, oh, that's a privilege thing. You got to
Hmm.
be rich to be able to rest. And I'm not talking about taking lavish vacations and going on these spa days. I'm talking about really simplistic changes that we can make that allows our
Okay.
body to come in and out of a state of rest. Right.
Well, this is
So,
going to be good. I'm
yeah,
excited
so
now.
I'm hoping that we get through all the types, but if we don't, I don't want to rush it. So if we don't, I'm happy to come back and do a part two and finish up
Right.
the different types. How's that sound?
Sounds beautiful.
Okay, perfect. So one of the first things about rest is creating a space to be still.
Mm.
Right. I think about you, Terry, because you talked about the Bible and God being a place where you find refuge. There's a verse in the Bible that says, "Be still and know."
Hmm.
Right? Be still and know. And so when we allow space to be still, our body tells its story in the stillness. Many times I'll tell clients, I just want you to take a minute to just close your eyes and just tune in and just notice what's coming up for you. And sometimes people will say, "Wow, I'm surprised. I'm starting to tear up. I didn't realize that I was feeling sad about something." Or, "Gosh, I'm feeling this tightness in my shoulders that I wasn't aware of." Right? Sometimes we're
Hmm.
so focused on the external that we rarely take the time to pause and get in touch with what's happening inside of me. So that's one of the first parts of rest, is taking a sacred pause to sense what is it that my body needs and how is it doing.
Mm.
So the first type of rest is physical rest. And
Yes,
physical
ma'am.
can be broken up into two categories. There's active physical and then there's passive, right? So the passive is what we're familiar with, which is sleeping, or I would say napping, right? Napping is more intentional than sleeping.
Mm.
When was the last time that you allowed yourself to take a nap on purpose? On purpose,
Uh-huh. Yeah. I-
right?
Wow.
For me, it's usually by accident,
Exactly. Exactly. I have
Yeah.
not taken a nap, and I have been advised to do so by my friends. Like, you don't
Mhm.
just go take a nap. And for some reason, it's difficult for me to shut my body down in the middle of the day.
Yeah. And sometimes it's not even about falling into a deep sleep, but it's just, once again, it's laying down, being still, closing your eyes, giving your brain a space
Mm.
to just rest, right? We have naps every day for little kids in school, but somehow we get the message that as adults, we no longer need that. But certainly
Mhm.
taking a nap is a form of rest. And then the active part of physical rest would be doing things that are helping, again, like I said, to release tension from your body. So doing stretching, right? Just
Oh.
taking a few minutes to just stretch, right? If you know you carry a lot of tension in your neck, which a lot of us do, taking some time to just roll your head in a
Mm.
circle,
Mhm.
right? And just
Mhm.
doing that, going both ways, just doing that for a minute is a way of offering, right, some rest to this part of your body, right? Or
Mm.
pulling your shoulders up,
Mhm.
really tight and then letting them drop down, or doing the rolls like Robin's doing, right?
Mhm.
Sometimes you just don't realize how much you needed it because we just
Mhm.
stay so tight and so stiff. So stretching,
Mhm.
doing breathing exercises is another form of active physical rest, right? When we slow down our breathing, we allow our body to receive more oxygen. We allow the stress hormones to reduce, and that is a way of offering rest to the body. Another type of active physical rest would be soaking in a bathtub,
Mm.
right? Or taking a long hot shower. And if you really want to treat yourself, maybe putting some Epsom salt or some bath oil, right, in the tub, and just soaking, right? Just allowing yourself to just surrender to that moment. Taking walks. These are all types of active physical. And let me
Mm.
not forget dance, right? Sometimes in the morning, I'll just put on a song that gets me going. And for 5 minutes, I have a dance party by myself, right? And afterwards, I feel lighter. I feel like I released something and I feel energized, right?
Mm.
So, those are examples of active physical rest. And let me say this, as I'm going through these, I want you to be thinking about, where do I spend the most energy in my day, right? Do I have a day that's filled with a lot of physical energy? Do I have a day that's filled with a lot of mental energy, sensory energy? As I'm going through the different types, you may find that, wow, I spend a lot of mental energy. So maybe that means I need some mental rest. I think
Mm.
all these types of rest I'm going to cover are helpful, but there might be some that really call to you based on where you're using most of your energy, right? A lot
Mhm.
of times we think, I'm really tired, and if I just get a little bit more sleep, I'll feel better. But you get more sleep and you still feel tired. And partly that's because the rest you need isn't sleep, it's some other
Mhm.
type of rest, right?
Oh.
So the second type of rest that I want to go over is mental rest.
Mm.
Um, and mental rest is where we begin to quiet the chatter in our minds, right? We have about 60,000 thoughts a day, if you can believe that.
Mhm.
60,000 thoughts a day, right? We have more thoughts a day than our prehistoric ancestors had in a lifetime. And then when you introduced technology and all these different stimuli, it's hard to even track all the things that our brain is taking note of.
Mhm.
So it's really important to pay attention to the need for mental rest. And so some signs that you might want to pay attention to that might mean you need some mental rest would be, you feel like you can't keep up mentally with what's on your to-do list, right? Or you're feeling like, gee, I feel like I'm just in this mental fog, right? Or I'm feeling like I'm finding myself being really forgetful. I keep losing my phone. I keep misplacing my keys. I'm having accidents that are avoidable. Those are all signs that there's a need for mental rest. So mental rest would be examples of that would be engaging in meditation, right? And meditation is one of those things that a lot of people say, oh, I can't do that. I can't quiet my brain. Well, like I said, if we're having 60,000 thoughts a day, it's really gonna be impossible to quiet the brain. What you're doing is simply being in observation of yourself, right? I tell people almost imagine that your thoughts are just cars that are just driving down the highway and you're just watching them go, right? You don't want to get into the cars. You just want to kind of watch them go. And if you find yourself getting in the car, just move on back and let the car pass, right? So that's simply all it is just being still and being an observation of where am I in a given moment. And there's so many apps that you can use now if you wanted guided meditation or simply just having a meeting with yourself in silence. Either is helpful for your brain to get that rest. I think also just prioritizing our activities. Sometimes there are some things that we have that we don't really need to be doing, right? You may have a to-do list of 10 things, but maybe only 2 of them are urgent. So moving those urgent ones to the top, moving the ones that are less urgent to the bottom, and allowing yourself space to know that I can get those done another day, right? Another way of getting mental rest. Another example of mental rest is creating a mental sanctuary, a place where you can go in your mind to retreat. And so, Tara, you talked earlier about casting your cares upon the Lord. So I imagine for you, part of that mental sanctuary is just imagining yourself in the arms of God, or imagining yourself just laying your burdens down, right? I want you to think of a place or a person that comes to mind that just brings you a sense of being held and brings you a sense of peace. And once you have that, I want you just to take a few seconds to close your eyes and just allow your mind to rest there in that place or with that person for just a moment, noticing what the quality of your heart feels like as you allow yourself to just let go. Maybe just allowing yourself to feel a sense of gratitude for even being able to recognize mentally a person or a place that allows you to feel held. And when you're ready, opening your eyes. Right. And so just imagine if you just took 10 minutes to just allow your mind to rest there, right? You come back feeling a little bit lighter, feeling like that the spirit of the person, the spirit of the place sort of infuses you with a sense of peace, a sense of calm, right? Did you experience that? I know it was quick, but what was it like for you to just pause there?
I found it really, really restful. Good morning, Carlos. Yeah, to be able to just feel secure. Felt really, really good, really peaceful.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I felt a sense of calmness and um, I think just well-being, in the sense that I was somewhere where I love to be, and actually I had a hard time figuring a person. Mine was a place.
Yeah. Yeah.
I realized I don't have a person that I could get that from. Isn't that interesting?
It is.
Yeah. Yeah. So whatever, and there's no right or wrong way to approach it, right? And it may shift moment to moment. You may come back next time and have a different place. Sometimes it's nice to sort of cultivate a place that feels good that you can just easily return to. But the beautiful thing is that your brain doesn't know the difference between imagining and actually being there. And so if you create this rich visualization in your mind, your brain is responding as if it's actually there, right? So I see the time, and we've only covered two types of rest. And so I'm wondering if you want me to go over one more, or should I? One more. Okay, we'll do one more, and then we can work on a date, and I'll do the other half. That
That would
sound
be
good?
beautiful.
Okay,
Hmm.
perfect. So we covered physical rest, we covered mental rest, and the third type of rest is emotional rest.
Mm.
Mm.
And emotional rest is where we are resting in the truth of our experience, right? Many times we are moving through the world with these masks on. You know, when you ask somebody, "Hey, how you doing?" They're going to say great, or they're going to say fine, right? But most
Hmm.
people aren't going to tell you the truth, right? And the truth might be, you know what, I'm having a really hard day. I'm carrying a lot of sadness right now, or I'm feeling really scared. And many times we hide from other people, but we also hide from ourselves. And the toll
Hmm.
that it takes to do so much filtering out our truth, it takes a toll and causes our spirit, our body, our mind to feel weathered. So, emotional rest is where we allow ourselves to speak our truth, where we allow ourselves to no longer hide. And I recognize that we can't do that at all times, but it's creating space where that can happen, right? And so, for some people, that can happen by going to therapy, right? I have clients who will say, Tamika, I've never told anybody this before. I've been holding this for years. And just to have this experience witnessed, or to have it witnessed without the judgment, can be so freeing and so life-giving, right?
Hmm.
I've been witness to many exhales after people have been able to really speak their truth, right? Or another way of engaging in emotional rest is journaling, right? Where it's just you. Sometimes we even filter from ourselves. And so when you allow yourself to just write it out, no one else has to see it, but just the writing it out, this is really where I am, right? Can be a way of releasing and allowing yourself to feel a little bit lighter, even if you can't change the circumstance, but just naming what it is, right, is a way of finding rest. So I will pause there, and just allow space if either of you have a question or something that struck you from either of the any of the three that I did go over.
Well, I know that I talk a lot about my grandmother, and when you talked about this thing of being still and having physical rest, her she used to say to us all the time, "Get somewhere and sit down. Just get somewhere and sit down. Just be
Yes.
still."
Yes. Yep. There's so much wisdom there, Terry. And that was long before people were talking about mindfulness and all these,
Exactly.
right, wellness practices. She knew. That's what
She
she was
knew.
saying. Get somewhere
Yeah,
and sit down.
get somewhere and sit down. That was
Yes.
the 50s. I mean, she was like, y'all just need to get somewhere and sit down for a minute. And I mean, it wasn't a punishment. It was just, just
It's just a
sit
time
down for a
for
minute.
stillness, right? There's a
Yeah.
time for busyness and movement, and there's a time to just be still and not to sleep, but simply
Hmm.
to be still and to come back to your center. Okay?
Wow. Ah, good things never change, do they?
Not at all.
Well, let me
Not at
change
all.
the view here. I
Okay.
want to let people know, Dr. Jackson, that you can be contacted. We're going to put your information up so that people will be able to contact you. And this is Dr. Jackson's Gmail, and we can put that over in the comments if you desire. But it's Dr. Tamika Jackson at gmail.com. And her website is drtamikajackson.com. I love that. I love it when we use our name. Go claim your real estate everywhere. including
Yes.
TikTok, Doc. If you haven't got, just claim your name. Okay. You don't want anybody over there dancing in your name. Okay. So those are three ways that you can contact Dr. Johnson. She has an Instagram account, iCore Love. So can you tell us about this acronym, Dr.
Sure,
Jackson?
sure. So Core Love stands for Cultivating Our Real Essence. And it is a wellness program that's been created for Black women to celebrate radical self love and to promote living authentically. And so, in that vein, I am in the process of developing workshops and support groups that are aligned with the mission and the values of self love and living authentically.
Wow. Okay. Well, we're going to put that information in the chat also.
Yeah, and all of this is on my website. So I will have an upcoming workshop happening in June, a series that's going to be on celebrating. They're called Celebration Sister Circles, and
Mm-hmm.
a space where we are learning the power of celebrating ourselves. And not just the grand things that we do, but little everyday occurrences that sometimes we tend to gloss over, and the importance of slowing down and making space to celebrate all of the richness that is with us and all the gifts that we give to the world on a regular basis.
Wow. I can remember not celebrating anything. I would always say, it's just really not important. We don't need to celebrate that. We don't,
Yes.
other than maybe the kids' birthdays or basic holidays. But yeah, always putting aside the celebrations that pertain to me.
Yep.
Once I started parenting,
Yeah,
very
absolutely.
interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. All in the
Mhm.
name of economics most of the time, when in fact it doesn't take that to celebrate.
Mm-mm.
It could
Mm-mm.
be a song, it could be a dance,
Absolutely.
it could be a
Absolutely.
prayer over the meal, just an acknowledgement. Hmm.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna
Yeah.
stop suffocating over here. Oh my goodness! Thank you so much
Absolutely, my
for
pleasure.
all that you do over here at Biz Chicks. We really, really do appreciate you. And please let us know when your workshop's coming up. We would love to
I
promote
will.
that.
Thank you.
hmm And if you're not already done so, folks, you know that you can become a part of Biz Chicks by going to bizchicks.net and filling out a profile and letting people know in our community who you are, what you do, and how we can support you. With that, Robin, I'm going to turn it back to you. You want to tell us who we have coming up next?
Well, I want to clarify one thing.
Mhm.
Dr. Jackson, it's 7 different types of rest, or so we have 4 more to go.
Yes.
hmm
So we'll have you back as soon as possible, and
Okay.
we will continue this because I want to hear about the other 4.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's interesting, you grow up a certain way, and I remember when I was about 3 years old, 4 years
Mhm.
old, and I used to play with the kids down the street, and they used to take naps. I
Mhm.
remember this, and my family didn't take naps. My family didn't
Mhm.
believe in naps. So we used to laugh at those kids. Oh,
Mm.
they're taking their afternoon nap. Ha 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 ha. I mean, I was little. So
Wow.
you know how long I've been thinking this way
Right.
that you don't stop.
Don't stop.
So I really appreciate this. This is very important information.
Yeah, yeah. And one thing I will say is that when we take the time to rest, it not only helps us, but it helps the generations that are coming after us because we're giving them
Absolutely.
permission to know that this is okay, that this is something that will help you to go the distance. And we're also healing the generations prior to us that didn't have the knowledge to know how to rest or believe that they were
Mhm.
worthy of rest,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that healing happens in both directions.
That's just
It's
wonderful.
beautiful. Oh, okay,
Okay,
guys.
next
We have.
week. Oh, all right.
Mhm,
Okay. So next week we have Linus with us, and
mhm.
Linus Woods Mullins. and she's a regular on the show, and I'm sure she'll bring us some really great stuff. I don't have her topic
Hmm.
today, but we'll try to announce it next week.
But
Um,
she is a wellness coach for women over 40, right?
yes, she is our
Hmm.
wellness coach over the women. Yeah, we have so many excellent
You
coaches
really
in
do.
this program. I mean, really, just excellent, excellent help. So, okay, well, we'll see you guys next week with Linus. And after Linus, let me just look really quickly because I like to tell you 2 weeks in advance. So we have Dr. Rod. Oh, wait, we have Lakeisha Appleton
Okay.
be with
Lakeisha
us.
Appleton.
Yes,
Keep us looking beautiful while we're going through these transformations.
that's right.
Oh my goodness. Thank you again, Dr.
Thank
Jackson, for all
you.
that you do. We pray a blessing on your daughter's gymnastic
Thank you.
abilities, that she would continue to grow in that area, and that your business would overflow. In
Oh, I
Jesus'
receive that.
name.
Thank you so much. It's always a
Mhm.
pleasure to see you too.
It's such a blessing. And I wanted people to know that in the Sacramento area, the National Council of Negro Women are collecting African American dolls to give to children who are finding themselves in foster care or at
Oh,
the settlement home for children who are in crisis, because, as you know, it's important to have images around you that reflect a positive image of self. So I can't remember ever having anything but a black baby doll because I was raised by a psychiatric social worker. And so I know the importance of that. And so if you have an opportunity, please contact them and donate a doll. Okay, so with that, we want to remind everybody it's okay to succeed in your business and go to the front of your own line. Have a great day. Thank you again, Robin, for all you do, and Dr. Jackson for your contribution today. Bye bye, everyone.